I witnessed the promiscuity in my previous relationship with somebody with borderline personality disorder. And ultimately, it was the promiscuity that I witnessed that was it was the traumatizing thing in the relationship, and maybe the only traumatizing thing. I could deal with, the occasional temper tantrums, the bulimia, the breakups, the ghosting, and all the other kind of strange BPD behavior that I didn't even know about, of course, until encountering my first one. But it was the monkey branching, they call it. It was the monkey branching that she did to exes or total strangers in our months-long breaks we would have after each cycle. Now, I was with her about 1.5 years, and I went through 5 cycles, and there was at least a month break in between each. And I witnessed certain things in between each break. And I will tell you now how. Remember, in previous videos, I stated that this person was my next door neighbor. Now, this wasn't somebody who lived 2 houses down, 3 houses down. This person lived in a house right across the street from me, on a tiny street, and I lived in a 2-story house, and she lives in a 1-story house. So there's almost nothing I could not see if I could help myself. And remember, I was in love with this person and was on and off, but still had a lot of feelings for her. And of course I could not help, as any normal, jealous kind of, you get ghosted and you wonder what they're up to and where they're at. And so, yeah, I looked out. I never ever intervened, though, but I did get a lot of information in between each breakup and getting back together about what she was up to. So this is going to be a unique take, as most probably do not live this close to their BPD ex, where you could pretty much see everything they did when you were in your off periods. And this, unfortunately, if you dated somebody with borderline and they lived across town and ghosted you for 1.5 months and they seemed somewhat hypersexual, this likely will tell you what was going on that you didn't witness. So just to continue on here, yes, my ex with borderline personality disorder just displayed those classic impulsive sexual behavior that is one of the diagnostic criteria, and she had it in spades. And it's just a worst case scenario for a man who falls for you and loves you and certainly enjoyed that part of your relationship. It evoked a lot of jealousy and heartbreak. And when you get cheated on, as Sam Vaknin says, it feels like death in a way. And that's also, by the way, why Sam Vaknin's videos resonate with me so much, is he talks quite a bit about this impulsive sexual behavior and cheating and all of that. So he's not lying. When I watch his videos, I feel like I'm hearing exactly what happened to me. And it was always a fear of mine in previous relationships. I've been in many good, longish relationships, intimate relationships. It's always a fear of mine that somebody would cheat, because I just knew it would hurt really bad, right? But I don't think I was ever cheated on in any of my previous relationships. And so this one was like, it just blew it out of the water because I witnessed so much of it. Like even after our first breakup, we were together about 2 months, and then the classic, lack of texting, and then suddenly silence and ghosting. And I witnessed some things, but then I got back with her the second time. This was not even knowing about BPD yet, and I asked her, I'm like, have you been with anybody since? Because I haven't. She's like, oh yeah, I've had sex with 3 people. I was like, wow, and 3 in a month, and we're off, and it was all so good and romantic with us, and you've had sex with 3 people. And she treated it very nonchalantly, and called it, oh, it's casual sex. That's what. Don't you ever do casual sex? Or I'm like, no, I don't. So, and then after breakup number 3 was when I really started paying attention and looking out. And I remember one particular section of time where 3 different men spent the night at her house 3 straight nights. And I mean, talk about like, if you're afraid of being cheated on, that's almost like almost a ridiculous amount. It's almost comical. I can imagine maybe a marriage that lasts 20 years and then there's one person has an indiscretion like that. That's probably really heartbreaking. But this was like, I'm just giving you one example. Like it got worse. So this girl, I guess, had a huge appetite. And then I remember after breakup number 3, this was when I finally figured out that she had borderline. I got back with her again for a 3rd time or 4th time, whatever. And I'm like, do you have any sex on your phone? Like, because I knew what she was up to by then, but she was a good time and we had fun. The only problem was that I cared about her and loved her. That was like maybe the only problem. But and she said yeah, and she showed me these graphic sexual videos on her phone. And I mean, I don't know if I should go into detail on YouTube, but it was shocking to see that stuff. And I asked her, I'm like, oh wait, what month and what year was this? And certainly it was within that short-ish period of time, month and a half, during our 3rd breakup or whatever. And I just couldn't. Yeah, so I saw 2 of them, and one of them was an ex and one of them was a stranger, and it was just super graphic. And just was crazy to witness. So, and then I didn't cover this yet, but she's active on dating sites. That's how she meets strangers. The old Sam Vaknin self-trashing, sexual self-trashing with primarily strangers. I know she was on Tinder and Hinge because she told me she was. But never did these things on our on times. When we were on and we were together for a month and a half, 2 months, longest lasting 3 months, there was none of this because I was with her almost every day. So it's just one of those, it's just so strange, really. But I used to see these cars pick her up in the middle of the night, be gone for about 2 hours, and then her be dropped off again. And we were full disclosure enough where she was telling me what was going on. She's like, yeah, I went out, you see me, I was dressed like a prostitute. And that's that classic impulsive sexual self-trashing with stranger type thing going on. And so all right, I'll make this video a little bit short. I think that in the end, I think it was the only thing that she thought she was good at. Maybe the only thing that can get her out of her head. Like, she lacked education, even though she was interesting to talk to. She was kind of street smart. She lacks career ambitions and hobbies, and even admitted to me that this behavior was to self-soothe, and that's classic borderline kind of reasoning for that sexuality that they have. But it was just it was really rough to witness it and watch it be just constant. Like it's almost like an addiction. Like I could bank it, in between each of our cycles, and I was her neighbor, so I got to see it all. I could just count on the cars start coming and the cars staying overnight, and it would be cars I often never saw again. So strangers, right? So there's my harrowing story of being a next door neighbor of somebody with borderline personality disorder.